Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Goffman, thank you for being with us today. I'm excited to see that you did feel this hearing was important enough to attend. The EPA's EV rules would necessitate enormous investments from the auto industry, driving up the average price per vehicle for consumers. And additionally, electronic vehicles are already much more expensive than traditional autos with internal combustion engines. Mr. Goffman, EVs are much more expensive than gas-powered vehicles. Since they are, how do EPA's rules impact vehicle affordability for families?
Thank you, Congressman Edwards, for bringing that issue up, because it's a central preoccupation of ours as well. These rules won't deliver the benefits that we just talked about unless the vehicles are attractive, appealing, and above all, affordable. And so, among other things, we are working with the auto industry itself. Many companies have already made a significant commitment to marketing EVs, and we're learning from them about what they're doing to address affordability and what our rules need to do in order to support that. We're also putting these rules in proposal form out in the wake of Congress itself having, through the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and the Inflation Reduction Act, introduced into the economy a number of measures whose purpose and ultimate effect will be to make the manufacture of these vehicles less expensive, and therefore give the car companies the opportunity to sell the vehicles they're planning to market at affordable prices.
And so what are some of the things that you've learned that you could share with this committee that are going to make these more affordable? Because everything that I know right now shows that these vehicles are far more expensive on the American family.
Well, one of the things we've learned is the importance of lead time. We're here in 2023 having issued these proposals. We're working towards getting them into final. But one of the things we've learned from the companies is that they have already carefully mapped out business plans for the later years in this decade and the early years of 2030, the 2030s rather, to increasingly rely on EVs as part of their new car fleet. And that with that lead time and giving them the time to harvest the benefit of the investments that they're making that Congress has already made, they'll be able to bring prices down so that people can afford these vehicles. And the important thing from the agency's perspective is what we're learning is that we have to understand what they're doing so that these standards are structured in the same way. The proposal we put out actually presents 4 different alternative approaches so that we can continue to engage with the car companies, with other parts of the transportation sector, in order to make sure that when we land these rules in final, it will reflect everybody's best understanding of how to make them how to make these vehicles affordable.
All right, thank you. Please excuse me if I seem a little bit skeptical that I'm not seeing anything, I'm not hearing anything, I'm certainly not seeing sticker prices on these vehicles be lowered to a point that families, at least in Western North Carolina, could afford them. There is, and please hear me clearly, there's a huge concern from the people that I represent for them being forced to buy a vehicle that is well out of their range. Many auto manufacturers expected to use the sale of internal combustion engine vehicles to pay for the transition to EVs. How would those rules affect that premise?
Well, one of the things we're seeing is that in the later part of this decade, when these rules start to phase in, companies will still be marketing well north of 40 million new internal combustion engine vehicles in their new car sales as this rule ramps up. And of course, under the proposal, the standards don't apply before model year 2027.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chair, I see I'm out of time. I yield back.